We're here today at Bayport, the ghost town of Bayport. I'm pretty sure it has been folded into the greater Weeki Wachee zip code area, but I'm not positive about that. But we're at Bayport Cemetery. This has long been on my list. This is a very exciting day for me and a find. Probably the most overgrown, abandoned, obscure, nearly impossible to find cemetery that I've ever found. There's a few out there that I haven't found that are pretty obscure that I'm just sort of convinced that they don't exist. But I don't know if that's just hubris or what. Anyway, the town of Bayport was settled and built in the period after the Armed Occupation Act, and it was the major port in this area. It was a huge place. It was a big town, etc. The whole deal. Pre-war, and during the war, it was a major blockade running port. There was a naval battle fought nearby. Portions of it, or the theory of it, is reenacted every January, and I think it's actually in a few days, or this weekend, called the Brooksville raid, which depicts a raid by federal raiders onto the shores of Bayport and into the Brooksville area. But that reenactment does not reenact exact battles. There were minor skirmishes, and this area was, again, a blockade running port, and the major source for this area to be getting their supplies from, to Brooksville and all around. And soon after, it was less than 20 years after the Armed Occupation Act was enacted and people started settling in this area, that the town of Bayport exploded. So I don't know when it became a ghost town. One of the interesting things about this cemetery is that years ago, and I don't know how many exactly years ago right offhand, but it was before they kept records. There was a law enacted somewhere along the line to force pawn shop owners to keep records of everybody selling things. Long story short, some miscreants stole a bunch of headstones from this cemetery, took them over to the local pawn shop, sold them. The pawn shop owner bought them. Then when it was discovered that he had bought them, refused to give them up. They took him to court. I guess it was a historic society that took him to court, made him give them up, and the court ordered him to give them up, and they now reside in a little patch of ground outside of the May Stringer Museum in Brooksville. I've seen them. I've done a video on them and a couple of photo albums, but they didn't bring them back here because they didn't know where they went. This is all overgrown. There's an article done in 1951 that says, then at that time, it was a local newspaper article that said this cemetery is overgrown, impossible to find, long since abandoned, etc., etc., etc. So they started burying here in the 50s, pre-war, and it wasn't too much longer. This one's 1886. There's another one over there, 1881, and I'm not sure what the other ones are, but I'm sure these are all 19th century. So in all events, this was a really cool find. I photographed it, I videoed it. I want to get out of here and go do something else. Have a good day.